Trophy. Welcome to FLX Weekly here on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. We're live inside the FingerLakes1.com studios where I'm joined by Steve Duprey and Connor Hibbard from the Geneva Theatre Guild. We'll be talking about their upcoming presentation of Godspell at Hobart and William Smith's Bartlett Theatre on July 27th through 30th. Today's show is brought to you by Empower Skin and Scalp Spa on Preemption Road in Geneva, locally owned and operated by New York State licensed esthetician Jessica Lahr, offering hydrofacial treatments, facial treatments, makeup services, dermaplane facials, spray tanning services, and scalp treatments. Call 315-291-9111 or book online at empowerspany.com. And also by Little John and Barbie Orthodontics. Dr. Littlejohn, Dr. Barbie, and their outstanding orthodontic team share a common goal to ensure the overall wellness of each of their patients through their exceptional orthodontic care. Check out Dr. Rod and Dr. Liz online at littlejohnortho.com. So welcome, Steve. Welcome, Connor. Steve's the director. Connor has the lead role, and boy, it's a pretty big role when you're playing Jesus Christ.
Yes.
In their production of Godspell. But Steve, tell us a little bit about Godspell and and how the production's going just 2 weeks out from opening night.
Godspell's really an incredible show. It's been under my skin since I was in high school, and I directed my first production of it here in Seneca Falls for the Seneca Community Players back in 1980, which makes me a lot older than I'd like to be. It's a wonderful show. It's based on the Gospel of Matthew, but it's really about community. It's about Jesus and his message of forming a community out of essentially 8 actors plus the actor who plays John the Baptist / Judas.
Yeah, and it's fun. The music's fun. The premise is fun. It's a light-hearted show for something that the subject matter that you might not normally consider being a light-hearted subject matter. And I actually saw a production of Godspell by the Seneca Community Players. I don't know if you were involved in that one. It was at NYCC. Probably 10 years ago. Sure.
No, I wasn't involved in that one, but it was on the same stage that I did the first production back when it was Eisenhower College.
And Connor, this is your first lead role? Have you had other lead roles?
No. This is my first lead role in a musical since high school, but I was in Cabaret for the Geneva Theatre Guild last summer, although I played mostly a non-singing, non-dancing role, which was wonderful. But now I played some lead roles in high school, and now just happy to be back playing the Son of God.
Yeah, are you excited?
Yes, it's daunting to play the most famous person who's ever lived, but it's very exciting.
I see you're sporting a little beard there. Is that or is that something you normally would?
Oh, it's for the show. Yeah,
for the show.
It's all gone after we close.
Yeah, it looks pretty authentic.
It's summer. It gets hot under there.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, the Geneva Theatre Guild. A little bit about the organization.
The organization's been around since the 70s. I started directing with them in 1984 with Jesus Christ Superstar, ironically. I do other shows, not just religious ones. And when I say religious, Godspell is not, even though it's based on the Gospel of Matthew, it really is more about the message of love and peace in the parables and their retellings. And originally it was conceived as a kind of clowning show. The 8 actors were dressed as clowns. They kind of told the stories. We've taken different takes on it, and as the show continues through its evolution, it's now over 50 years old. The way that the parables are told are very often contemporary. We have I'll just throw a little bit of a spoiler. You can look for Harry Potter in this show. Okay, you find different ways to tell the parables. But as far as GTG goes, they've been around for a long time. Of course, had a rough time during COVID, as every theater company has, and we did a lot of online theater during that time that I directed. But it's a thriving organization, and I think they really do pull in some wonderful actors, and they do some pretty high quality work.
So when you call the Geneva Theatre Guild, where here in Seneca Falls we have the Seneca Community Players, it's the same type of organization, though. There's not really a big difference between the community player group and the theater guild.
Sure, it's just the name. The
Right.
community theater idea is pretty widespread around the country. Small towns, small cities who put together community theater shows like this. But yeah, there's essentially not a big difference apart from budget. Some people have more money than others, and,
Right.
and therefore they can do some things that others can't.
So, Connor, getting ready to star in this production. I think one of the things that draws people to community player groups is not only just the art of acting, but the camaraderie that you have with your fellow people putting on the production, whether it's the people on stage or the people behind the scenes. Just talk a little bit about this group that's put together for Godspell.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the reason I do community theater, is to meet the people and to collaborate. They're all incredible. We have Alec Richardson, who's playing Judas, and then 8 other wonderful actors. Let's see if I can remember all of their names right off the top. Abigail Regan, M. Miracle, Kimberly Pantaliano, Anna Schmant, Melvin Madera, Alexander Calvo Evans, Allie Smith, and Brian Morath. Brian Morath are all playing various characters,
Yep.
using their own names, and it's the most wonderful group. We have so much fun clowning around every night.
When did preparation start?
Auditions were the first weekend of June, and then we started rehearsals a week or two after. So it's been a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, that is pretty quick.
One of the
About
quicker turnarounds for a show I've ever done.
about a month of preparation.
It's a 6-week
Yeah.
rehearsal process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, when you talk about those 6 weeks, what's the time commitment? How often is it? 7 days a week? Is it?
These guys are rehearsing 5 nights a week, and sometimes that's a full-out dance rehearsal for 3 hours. They're also committed to what we call a walk with Steve. So everybody comes in at least a half an hour early once, and we take a little character walk, and we talk more specifically, kind of digging into each of the characters.
Right, right.
And then, of course, as we get closer to the production, we'll work on weekends. The production week will be in the theater on Saturday and Sunday, so not an awful lot of time for rest, especially since most of these actors are also working a full-time job during the day.
Sure, yeah. So, when you decide that you want to put on a production of Godspell, do you bring that to the board at the Theater Guild, and how does that work? How do you decide what the guild is gonna do next?
Well, the process is the usual process is that they'll put out a call for directors, and directors will propose a show, and we'll say, I've got so and so for my music director, and so for my choreographer, and how many positions do I have filled? And then they look at the budget and say, can we pull this one off? And one of the reasons we're doing Godspell is because the money is tight, and Godspell's technically an easier show to do because the set isn't huge. The costumes are kind of found pieces. So there's not an awful lot of money to spend on a show like Godspell apart from salaries and royalties and rental of a theater and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's basically how a show's chosen for this particular group. I can tell you, I'm very excited about this because I'm a playwright as well, and just sitting out in the hall here, just a few minutes ago, I got a text from the producer saying that they had decided to do one of my plays for next February.
Okay.
So there's a new play that hasn't been performed before that will happen in, I think, February or March of next year.
So will someone else direct that, or will you direct that?
I will probably direct it because it's the first time out,
Yeah.
and it's still my baby, and I don't want to let it go yet.
So that has to be, I don't know if nerve-wracking is the right word, but a little more pressure when the curtain drops and, how it's received.
Oh, sure. It's
When it's
it
something
can
you
be
wrote.
horrifying and gratifying all at the same time.
Yeah, and then conversely, Godspell. A lot of the people that are coming to see this may have seen a production of Godspell before. Do you feel almost like you have to do as well as the other ones, or you're trying to put a different spin on it? Like, how much can you take a show like Godspell and make this production kind of unique from other productions?
Well, I have heard of productions of Godspell taking place in a post-apocalyptic landscape.
Yep.
I've heard of them taking place on other planets. So you can do, this is one of those shows where you can do almost anything with it. We've stayed pretty true to the original script. There are actually two scripts for Godspell, because the revival script that happened in 2011, thank you, was not rewritten a lot, but enough to make it different than that original script that I worked with, so many years ago, and I really liked that script. So we've stayed fairly true to that, and we haven't set it in any weird kind of scenario or anything like that.
So Connor, first lead role, where are you on the spectrum of totally confident and trepidation? Like, where are you right now, about 2 weeks out?
Trepidation certainly kicks in. Jesus is a monologue-y guy. He likes to talk, and thus I have about 17,000 monologues in this show, which has been fun to memorize. But no, Steve is a wonderful director and has instilled a lot of confidence in me I worked with him in high school over the years, and has really helped me gain the confidence that I definitely didn't have when the cast list came out.
Mm-hmm.
But every day it gets easier. Every day I get more confident in myself.
What do you guys do for your day jobs?
I work for iHeartRadio in Rochester.
Okay. What's that like?
It's
Are you on air? Are you behind the scenes?
I'm a producer, so
Okay.
I get on air sometimes.
Yep.
It's a ton of fun. I'm just out of college. I just graduated from Ithaca College in May, so it's my first real life job. It's
Sure.
very fun, very exciting.
What was Ithaca like? Was there opportunity? I mean, obviously they have a great performing arts program. Were you involved in anything at Ithaca?
No, so I took a break from theater after high school. I had been doing it all my life, and I felt like I needed to explore other things. I did other performing arts. I became a filmmaker at Ithaca, and a screenwriter at Ithaca. So I always stayed involved creatively, and some of my best friends were in productions, but I was not in anything at Ithaca, which is why this is so special to be able to come back.
So, just take a little sidebar here. You were at Ithaca during COVID.
I was.
And if I remember, Ithaca was pretty strict. What did you do? A period of remote learning where you weren't on campus?
Yeah, so everything shut down in March, and we went home like everybody else, and then we were fully remote for fall 2020. So September to, or I guess August to December 2020, I was in Geneva doing remote classes, which was definitely an adjustment. And then I came back in the spring 2021, and I was on campus, but virtually all of my friends were still remote.
Right, you had the option then to do...
Yes, they gave the option. So I really only feel like I got 2 years of actual college, but I packed a lot in those 2 years.
Yeah, I tell you, I feel... whatever level of school you were in during COVID, if you were a kindergartner or a college student, I just feel a little unfair to those students, I guess, at whatever level you were, to miss out on that. But definitely, a unique. I think it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
So hopefully my daughter was one of those. I think she was in ninth grade. Her ninth grade year was one that was most affected by COVID. So I'm thinking, oh geez, my daughter has one chance to be a freshman in high school, and it's this weird, she's sitting at home in her bed on a computer all day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So how about you, Steve? What do you do outside of the theater?
By the same token, I was teaching at Finger Lakes Community College at the time when COVID came out. So I spent my days sitting in front of my computer and during the day, and then sitting there at night for 3 hours rehearsing for various online shows.
So did you at FLCC have a role in performing arts? Is that
I taught acting occasionally. I'm in the communications department,
okay?
so I'm teaching public speaking and interpersonal communication and things like that. Uh, and I have many day jobs. I'm a playwright. I'm an artist, a painter. So I travel around the country doing plein air festivals and things of that nature. So always keeping my hand in the arts.
There's a local plein air festival, right? Isn't there?
There are several. There's several. There's one in
big
Canandaigua. There's one in Clifton Springs. There's one in Palmyra. Yeah, there used to be a Billsboro winery plein air that then turned into the Seneca Lake plein air.
That must be the one I'm
taken
thinking
over
of.
by the Smith Opera House for a while.
Yeah, there was one that was were really well promoted over the past few years.
Yeah.
Well, July 27th through 30th, if someone wants to go to the show, first of all, what times are the shows each day? And second, how can you get tickets?
We're 7:30 on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And again, this is at Bartlett Theater on the Hobart and William Smith campus in Cox Hall, which is the main big building, the oldest building there, I think. And then on Sunday, we're at 2 o'clock in the same location. You can get tickets by going to the Geneva Theatre Guild website, which is genevatheatreguild.org, I believe.
Yes, GenevaTheatreGuild.org/tickets.
/tickets. And you can order your tickets right there. You can also get tickets at the door, but it's always great to, especially with a show like Godspell and a fairly small house, I think you want to get your tickets early because I know Cabaret last year sold out several of those shows. And so...
What's the capacity at Bartlett Hall?
I'm sorry?
What's the capacity at Bartlett?
Well, we haven't set it up yet, so I'm not exactly sure because we have to build a stage out at Bartlett, and so once we've built that stage out, we'll see how many chairs we can get in the place. So, but I'm guessing we're probably around 300 or so, and that's going to fill up pretty quick with a show like Godspell. I think it's going to be pretty popular.
Sure. I know Hobart's on summer break, but do they have some students maybe attend?
I think there are some students, there are certainly local students, and I think that there are some non-local students who stay on campus and do various jobs around the campus.
So Connor mentioned his onstage cast members. Anybody else you'd like to mention that's behind the scenes?
Sure. My choreographer is Lauren Calvo Evans, who is doing a great job. She choreographed Spamalot for me a couple of years ago, and that was a lot of fun. And Deb Hodgman is my music director, and she's been my go-to music director for several shows over at SCP or GTG.
Yeah.
And I suppose we should mention T.J. Bogart, who is one of my high school students from Geneva High, who is now my stage manager, and doing an incredible job as well.
So you mentioned, music director, choreographer. There's obviously more than just reading lines and acting, and those folks are working sometimes, I assume, with actors that aren't used to dancing or singing. Is that true in this case, where some of these people are doing that type of stuff for the first time, or maybe the first time since high school?
I think everybody coming in, the audition process kind of is there to weed out those people who don't sing
Right.
as well as I'd like them to, or don't dance as well as I'd like them to. I've always said I'd rather have an actor who can sing and dance rather than a dancer who might be able to act.
Yep.
But that's because I'm the acting director. So I think the other creative team might think a little differently about that. But this cast is really pretty doggone solid as far as acting and singing and dancing. They call that the triple threat. Many of these young actors are in theater programs in college, so they've got some training all the way around.
Well, and in that vein, Connor, Godspell is certainly, when I think of the music, I think of it as fun and exciting and catchy. Do you have any favorite songs you're looking forward to in particular?
All of my solos. No, obviously Day by Day is the chart topper that everybody knows, and that's always a crowd pleaser. But the one I've really fallen in love with is Save the People, which is the one before Day by Day. It's a beautiful message, and it sounds better and better every night, looks better and better every night. I mean, I love all of the songs in this show, but that's the one I've really, really connected with.
So from a technical perspective, are the actors going to be wearing mics? Is the stage mic'd? Is it just
The beauty of a smaller show is that you can put a body mic on every actor.
Yeah.
So all 10 actors in the show will be mic'd, and the pit also does a number. The pit is a combo. It's guitar, bass, drums, and keyboard.
Yeah, it's more of a rock and roll feel than an orchestra feel,
Absolutely.
right, for this show?
It's a folky rock and roll. A couple of the numbers get a little bit harder, a little driving drum lines and things like that. But yeah, I think that. Well, I've lost my train of thought there, Jim. So.
So they'll be I'll be wearing individual mic.
Yeah, you'll hear everybody. You'll see everybody. Bartlett's got a lot more lighting instruments than I thought they did. I'm on my way over there this afternoon to do some reconnaissance with my daughter, who is designing and running lights for the show.
Okay. So once again, that is Godspell at Hobart William Smith's Bartlett Theater, July 27th through 30th. Tickets online at genevatheatreguild.org/tickets, or at the door. But you always probably feel better securing your tickets in advance. And again, what are the show times?
7:30 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 2 o'clock.
So one matinee on Sunday, and then it's always any big plans for the after party on Saturday night or Sunday. When's the big party? Is it after Sunday or Saturday night?
I think I try not to party after Saturday night because we do have a show on Sunday.
Right.
So nobody gets to go to the party until we strike the set.
Okay.
So the set comes down, we'll have photos and things like that, and then I'm sure that there'll be a big hoopla at some point.
Okay. Well, good luck. A couple more weeks to go before the opening night, and it should be great. Like I said, tickets online at genevatheatreguild.org. And take a quick look at this weekend, where, boy, man, we've had some weather recently, heavy rains, nothing like Vermont, but boy, Canandaigua got hit pretty hard, and pretty much all the Finger Lakes got a significant amount of rain, and now we could use a chance to dry out. So good and bad news. The good news is most of the weekend should be mostly sunny with highs in the low 80s. However, with that type of summer weather, there is a chance of thunderstorms each and every day, about a 50% chance, mostly in the late afternoon, early evening. So can we avoid those heavy thunderstorms that drop the 2 inches in 30 minutes, which have been causing the problem? So we'll keep our fingers crossed there, but otherwise looks like a great weekend out here in the Finger Lakes. Are you guys spending your weekend in preparation, or maybe this is the last weekend you get to do something different before the final stretch run? What are your plans for the weekend?
I work early mornings on the weekends in Syracuse for iHeart, so I will be going to work, taking a nap, and then doing my lines for the rest of the day.
So is that something you'll do by yourself when you're practicing the lines?
I do it. I like to take walks, stimulates my mind,
Yeah.
get active. And then I do like an hour walk, and then I come home and I run lines with my
Where do you live?
I live near the Geneva High School.
Okay, so just where do you like to walk? Along the lakefront?
Sometimes the lakefront, sometimes there's just a neighborhood route I
Yep.
have across some streets that I grew up next to. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Geneva's a great walking
Yes,
city,
it is.
for sure, especially now with the some of the upgrades they've made on 5 and 20. Any plans this weekend, Steve?
Well, I do get to relax a little bit this weekend, and my wife and I have a cabin down in Prattsburg.
Oh, great.
Which we have visited once or twice since the beginning of the summer because everything has been so busy. So it's an hour away, and I'll probably get down there to relax a little bit and hope that these guys do continue to study their lines.
I will be continuing to study my lines.
Well, appreciate you guys joining me. Great. Looking forward to Godspell, which, like I said, is so much fun. And I know that a lot of people do attend community theater productions that don't have a connection to the cast and crew. It is a wonderful opportunity to experience some great live performance, right in your own neighborhood. So I'd encourage everybody to get out. You have 3 opportunities: 7:30, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, July 27th, 20th, 29th, and then an afternoon matinee at, was it 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? 2 o'clock on Sunday, July 30th. So that's Godspell by the Geneva Theatre Guild. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Connor, and good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you
Good
for
to be
having
here.
us.
So thanks, everybody, for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, click like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next Wednesday continuing this theme. We'll have the Between the Lakes Community Service Players. Until then, have a great summer weekend here in the Finger Lakes.